Today we're diving into boat fails, so strap on your life jacket, toss your best mate overboard, and grab a seat on the poop deck, because these fails will have you staying dry and shouting land ho. This first boat was like the inspiration for those theme park rides you only go on if you have small kids. You know, the ones where it's just a car that goes in circles, and right next to it, the same ride but as a boat. Well, this boat in Russia lost its captain, sent passengers overboard, and decided to take itself on a joyride, just like a 4-year-old at Six Flags. Let's do it again, Daddy. Did you ever think a traffic jam could be fun? Well, if you're on a booze cruise down a charming canal, and the traffic jam is full of laughing tourists, it's actually a bit of a hoot. That's what these canal riders discovered when some ladies in a kayak did their best impression of that infamous shipping container blocking the Panama Canal for months. While that disaster caused billions in lost revenue, this mini blockade just meant a few extra beers before hitting the club. Too soon, ladies, too soon. They say you need to fake it before you make it, but this sailboat captain wasn't fooling anyone. He might want to swing by the eye doctor and get that depth perception checked. This guy wanted to soar across the sky like a bird while parasailing on the lake, but ended up waterboarding himself instead. Even the guy at the carnival dunk tank was like, "Bro, you good?" This boat fail really hits us in the feels. It didn't even make it off the trailer, and it's already a wreck. Makes you wonder, would people still visit the Titanic if it had just sunk in the harbor where it was built? At least it'd be a quicker trip to see it. The thing about dancing on a party boat is you've got to match the rhythm of the waves with your dance moves. She should have just gone for the worm, at least then a fisherman might reel her in. Speaking of falling out of a boat, these fine folks took a plunge while trying to disembark from their midday wine break. Honestly, it's probably for the best. Better to fall into the water than faceplant onto those unforgiving cobblestone streets. Sailboats should really come with a built-in scoop for moments like this, because nothing says smooth sailing like frantically bailing out water. When you want to be cool but your boat fails you. This guy in a red canoe is a prime example of why canoe technology is outdated. Sure, it served a purpose, just like manual transmission cars. But we've got flat-bottom boats now. The whole point of a boat is to stay dry and get from point A to point B. But with a canoe, it's more like a game of, can he make it? Canoe rant over. This guy did a belly flop so hard that a whale gave him a thumbs up. But if you're going to jump off a boat, at least put your back into it. Just maybe not like this guy in yellow banana shorts. Or this? Seriously, how hard is it to jump in the water from a boat? Now, we've heard of walking the plank, but motorbiking the plank? This rider tried to get his motorcycle on board a boat the old-fashioned way, across 2 wooden boards, and now it looks like he'll be riding on foot from now on. Now we head to the Canary Islands, Spain, where a ferry carrying tourists plowed right into the dock after losing power. Well, that's one way for Old Man Henderson to scare tourists away from his fishing village. If it wasn't for that dog and those pesky kids. When you go to the football stadium, it is always fun to do the wave. However, not so much on the deck of a large cargo ship. The one thing about being a fisherman is you never, ever want to fall off your fishing boat. Why, you ask? Well, if you fall off, the fish are going to laugh at you. And if the fish laugh at you, they won't take your lure seriously, and you won't catch any fish. Long story short, don't embarrass yourself in front of the fish, or you'll end up like this guy. If you want to save money, instead of going to the hairdresser for a clean and blow dry, just do this. Speaking of the Titanic, this girl on a paddleboard did not make enough room on her door for her Jack. Sorry, Jack. Don't be so chicken. Take that amusement park ride. After all, they inspect these things regularly, and you don't hear about accidents every single summer. But even pretend boats can have major fails, as seen here with log ride boats derailing and colliding while passengers flee on foot. Let's just say this log ride turned into a real splash hit. This backseat driver kept insisting they back the truck in further to launch the stuck boat. As we've seen before, that's a recipe for disaster, and sure enough, the truck ends up taking a dip. After a long, wet struggle, these folks decided a go-kart might be a safer bet for their next adventure. This is not actually a real boat, they just wanted to see if this guy would try it. This lady did such a bad belly flop that even the sharks were like, nah, we good. This dad tried to do the ultimate boat limbo, but ended up getting stuck under the bridge. He built this bridge himself, but he should have built in a mini drawbridge as well. Back to Home Depot we go. As we said, the first rule of fishing is not to make the fish laugh. So when this fisherman tripped and fell on the boat, nobody got fish that day. You know you are having a bad day when you get arrested, but you are really having a bad day when you are already riding in a kayak, trying to keep your balance, and then you get arrested for being on the most wanted list. Most wanted for needing a boat, more like. And this is what happens when you book a cruise on a discount website and they schedule your fun trip floating through Alaska in the middle of the winter. The worst part of this yacht breaking its antenna while trying to go under a bridge? The captain was just about to win one of those radio call-in trivia games and missed out on 2 tickets to see Five Finger Death Punch. And the worst part of this boat hitting a bridge pillar, as everyone watches, is that it was a rental from Hertz Rental Boats. And no, they did not get the insurance. And this big guy jumping from a boat is less of a cannonball and more of an avalanche. And either these guys are trying to get rid of their boat for the insurance money, or they found the part of the Bermuda Triangle we all heard about as kids. Let's go for a visit. And the second rule of boating is to never pull out your wiener dog unless you have 2, and then they are excited together. Selfies are more fun when they end like this.
1, 2, 3.
They say dance like nobody is watching, but maybe like you have a life vest. This yacht captain hits several boats on the docks in the marina and answers the question, what if the old lady at the grocery store parking lot won the lottery and started driving a yacht? While it must have been totally miserable for the owner of this car when they found it submerged in water, the absolute best part of this video for the rest of us is that the windshield wipers are still going. Like, dang, I think you are gonna need a stronger blade, bro. This iguana was a stowaway on a guy's boat who asked him to leave, so made like a tree and leafed. Or should we say lily-pated. Some ships have grand ballrooms for amazing gala events and dances. Some boats have Cindy and a Budweiser who is going to make it seem like a grand ballroom with these baller dance moves, right in the drink. Whoops. These folks were trying to sneak away for a weekend getaway, but the only thing that got away was their boat. If you have ever been in a situation where you need a poncho, the poncho is always useless. Prove me wrong. Whoever is driving this boat has really had enough of this bachelorette party. Whenever a boat loses its captain, the boat just has fun on its own.
Throttle stuck, doing donuts.
And this guy tested his drone off the back of a yacht, and he got a perfect shot of wasting $1,500. Now we go to the canals of Amsterdam, where after visiting Amsterdam's famous funny cafes, tourists are allowed to rent boats, where they can play bumper boats all day. Yay! And you are not going to win the gold at rowing if you are not willing to lose some dead weight, Carl. And finally, we go to the open sea where a man stands bravely on the deck of his sailing yacht as it gets smacked with a huge wave. Looks like fun, but we are going to stay on shore and eat some crab cakes. What is the biggest boat fail you have ever experienced?